for this next video, I'm going to be alone. Not because Eike disappeared, but because she didn't read any books, unfortunately, this week. I finished 2. Both of them I don't really quite like, so I'm hoping, I think, because the books I'm currently reading I'm really enjoying, so next week is going to be good, I think. The first one I finished this week is Little Woman by Lisa May Alcott. It tells the story about a family of daughters and their mother during Civil War, I believe. In any case, their father is away from home fighting, and it's them, living without a man in the house. And it was a bit boring, but it did make me feel things, so that's why I gave it 2.5 stars. The extra half star is because it made me feel, but it's a bit boring, so I don't think I'm going to read any more of Louise May Alcott. The reason why I decided to read this is a funny story. I watched Edgar Allan Poe's murder mystery, What Lick for Friends? It's a really long title. Murder Mystery Party, something of the kind. And it's really funny. It's a YouTube sketch that takes place over several episodes. And Edgar Allan Poe invites a whole bunch of authors, some of his who lived during his time and some before or after. All are classical writers, and they are murdered one by one. So during that party, so it's really funny. You go watch it. It's from Shipwrecked. You also have to watch the Diary of Edgar Allan Poe, especially the first one, because the actor who plays him he's so adorable, and he has like a big drawn version of the real Edgar Allan Poe behind him. And he's just, I don't know why, but it was so funny. It's like just so cute. Yeah. So after I finished that YouTube series, I thought, well, I read some of those authors that were there at the party, so why not read the others? So I started to read Hemingway, and I didn't really like the book that I read, so Farewell to Arms. Didn't really like it very much. But Louisa May Alcott was also at the party. I didn't like this one either, so it's not always a hit. I did War of the Worlds. I read because the author of War of the Worlds was also at the party, and I like that book. I like that book, so it's not always a miss. So the second book I finished this week was also a miss. It's a Dutch book called Aardappels met lawaaisaus by Miek Dorrestein. It takes place in Holland, obviously, during the 30s, and it's about a little boy who works as a grindwerker. I don't know the English equivalent, or a manual worker. Let's just put it that way. And one day his dad dies in an accident, so he has to take his dad's place, and he also has mother and a sister who he has to feed with the money that he makes. But he's a bit of a hothead, so well, it was alright. I had difficulty getting through it. It is a really old book. I bought it like many years ago. One of the reasons why I bought it was because the main protagonist is called Eike with 2 A's. Eike, my sister, is with 1 A, and originally it's a boy's name, but my sister is a girl. So that was one of the reasons why I read it, and it's not that good. So those were the books I read this week. To discuss the books I'm currently reading. Now that we've done the wrap up, Eike can come back because she's currently reading. Come on out. This.
The Crippled God by Stephen Erickson. It is the last book of the main series. So Yeah. I'm going to read this
Slowly as possible.
as slowly as possible because I don't want it to end. And yeah, I know I can reread the series, but it's not the same. And but I told myself I'm going to finish this month, this book, and well, it is really great. It's about the last battle between the forces, and of course I'm not going to talk about it in great detail because there's lots of spoilers.
This is the last of the series. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, but I really care about all of them, so yeah, it's going to be difficult because, as you can see, it is Melis's Book of the Fallen, so I know a lot of the characters I love are going to die, and a few of them died during the main series, during the books before that, but still, yeah, it is the last battle, so lots of characters are just going to bite the dust, and yeah, it sucks. So because I really care about them.
So, the book, one of the many books I'm currently reading, because usually I'm reading 3 at a time, physical books and audiobooks of 3 or 4 at a time. So I'm also going to be talking about audiobooks, and I'm also reading some books on the back burner, but on those books later. First book I'm currently reading, I'm almost finished with. No, this is okay. The next one I finished this week.
Oh dear.
It's called City of Ember, People of Sparks by Jean Dupau. It's like if a name looks French, I'm going to pronounce it in French, even if you're supposed to pronounce it in English. That's how my brain is wired. Excuse me to Jean Dupri. It's the wrong pronunciation, but in any case. It's the second book in the book series about the City of Ember. I saw the movie, I really liked the movie, and it ended on a cliffhanger, so I'm like, I want to read it. I want to know what happens next. So I decided to read the series. I'm not able to tell you guys about what happens in this book because it's the second book in the series, but the theme in this book is strangers and how will come to you for help. How do you treat them? What are you willing to sacrifice to help those people? How can you coexist with strangers? It's very much like, you could say, an immigration book. It would say like, go back to where you came from. They're ruining our way of life. People with anti-immigration sentiment use that kind of rhetoric. So it's very, even though it says in the future, it's very current, and it's also just how humans are. We are pack animals. It's like we fight over territory. We think about them and us. So yeah, so it's very human, and I really liked it, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the books. Yeah, I also had some people I thought they were going to like. I thought one of the main characters had a crush on another character, but it's just hero worship. But like, something is between them. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but who knows. The first one I'm currently reading is the second in the series. It's called Smoke in the Sun by René Adier. You guys probably know this one. I know some of it, like first book. I really loved it. Probably most of you didn't like it because you had the idea that this was going to be a Mulan retelling, but I already knew from other booktubers that it wasn't really a Mulan retelling, so I didn't go into the book with those expectations. So I really liked it. I liked the writing style, so I'm really looking forward to reading the other duology by René Adier. I started it, so I'm not very far, but I'm really enjoying it. The next book I'm currently reading is Black Moon by Ramina Russell. This is the third one in the series. I'm almost finished. Also only have to read like 50 pages. I really liked it. It's a bit slower than the first two books, but really character development and story about the family of the protagonist and her mother and well, so it's more a filler book, but it's still good.
Actually, I'm currently reading that one as well. Yes. I'm in sort of Broken Eyes. I started it. I've read the first 3 chapters. I don't think I'm going to finish it this month because, as I mentioned a few times, I really don't have much time, so I can only finish one book at a time.
The next one I'm currently reading is a really chunk of a book. Look what a thing! Like a brick is this. Like it's heavy, like really big. So I can't take it to me to work. Obviously, it's as big as my backpack. So no. So I read it before I'm going to sleep. It's called I Me Mine by George Harrison. It's an autobiography he wrote when he was still in the Beatles, I believe. Even when Brian Epstein was still alive, he died in 1976. So it's mostly about his youth. Edition that came out last year, I believe. So it's the foreword was by his widow, and afterwards lyrics were added, and the commentary was added. I got it from my birthday. So I'm currently reading this one. As a Beatles fan, it's just a must-have, must-read. So yeah, I'm currently reading this one as well. But I'm also, like I said, I'm listening to audiobooks. I'll put a picture of the book that I'm currently listening to on the screen here. The first one is the third book in the series Lockwood & Co. and it's called The Hollow Boy. And the Lockwood & Co. series is about a group of children, 3 to be exact. In the third book there's a 4th member. They fight ghosts. It takes place in England, and during the past few decades the world is overrun by ghosts, and only children can see them, so they are the ones that fight them. Usually you have agencies that are hired by the government and other people. Usually they have supervisors who are grown-ups, but Lockwood & Co. only has children, and that makes them the odd one out. So often they are looked down upon and had a little bit of difficulty getting into the world in the first novel, because you like put smack into it. You aren't introduced, but you start right off. The main protagonist, the girl, goes in for an interview for a job at Lockwood & Co. and the world building is gradually and more natural because of it, but it's just really difficult to get a grip of what happened, what kind of world is this. It's a middle grade series, and it's by Jonathan Stroud. Jonathan Stroud. And the second book that I'm currently listening to is The Fandom by Anna Day. It's about a group of friends that get sucked into the world of their favorite book. They go to a convention, and something happens at the convention that puts them in that world. Other 2 books that I'm listening to are reads or re-listens. The first one is the last Harry Potter book. I already listened to the previous ones. I adored, of course. I listened to the one done by Stephen Fry. I adore Stephen Fry. So a reread is the City of Lost Souls, I believe. Yeah. So the fifth book in no, fourth, fifth, yes, was it sixth? Fifth book in the Mortar Instrument series. So that's are the books that I'm currently reading, but there are also some on the back burner, a lot of them. The one is called Scythe by Neil Schusterman. In this it's a dystopian. In this society, people don't die anymore, and because of this, to keep the population in check, there are scythes. Those are the only people that are allowed to kill. The book is in Dutch. It's a translation from Indonesian. I'm part Indo, so it's like I'm not part Indonesian but part Indo. Just look it up on Wikipedia, you know what I mean. So I'm always been fascinated with that part of my heritage, and I studied South and South Asian studies in Leiden, so I got to know a little bit more about one of the places that made me. I went on holiday there. It was really, really, really great. With my sister, I went there. But this takes place in Indonesia. It's called Amba of de Kleur van Rood by Laksmi Pamuntjak. It's hard. It's supposed to be very popular in Indonesia. It's about two people who are lovers, but during the massacre of supposed and also actual communists in Indonesia, they lose touch, and years and years afterwards, the woman of the couple tells the story about how they met and stuff. Next one on the back burner is no, the title of the book is at the bottom. That's why I couldn't find it. The series is called The Six Tudor Queens, but the novel is called The True Queen. It's by Catherine. No, it's about Catherine of Aragon. It's by Alison Weir. There we are.
Really confusing.
Yes. So it's about the first wife of Henry VIII. Excuse me, it's late here. Henry VIII, and it's written by a historian who has started to write novels. I like her writing style. I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the books. I got this for my birthday from my sister, Eike. The other queens also have their own books. And I'm quite looking forward to reading about Anne Boleyn. I'm really fascinated with her due to the TV series Tudors. I really think she's very brave, and I hate her father, and I hate Henry VIII, of course, and she's one of the reasons why Protestantism has come to make a rise in England. So she was Protestant, and because of her, Henry became Protestant. So she's really influential, and what happened to her is just sad. So I'm looking forward to reading Anne Boleyn's story, but I'm also going to be reading the rest of the queens. The next book it's called As Old as Time. It's by Liz Braswell, and it's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. Part of a series of retellings. With each retelling, some crucial point in the story is different from the Disney adaptation of the fairy tale. So with this one, it's what if it was the mother of Belle who cursed the beast. And the next one is also well known by BookTube. It's called A Replica by Lauren Oliver. It's about children who are. It's been a while since I read this actually, so I believe it's about children who are being imprisoned in a lab or facility because they are harvested for their organs, but I'm not sure. It's like I said, it's been a while, so I'm not sure. There are other books that I have on the back burner that I don't have with me right now. Uh, one of them is A Breath of Air, and Air is written like Jane Eyre, and it's about a girl who is sucked into the story of Jane Eyre. It's by Eve Mary Mont, by the way. The other book that I have on the back burner is The Light Years by Elizabeth Jane Howard. It's a novel about a family. It's also part of a series. All of the books are about the same family. The other one is Eligible by Curtis Sittenfeld. It's a retelling about a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, modern day. And I have also one audiobook that's on the back burner. It's called Proof. It's by Elizabeth Gaskell. It's a classic. It's about a girl who becomes pregnant out of wedlock by a married man, I believe. It's very unusual protagonist for the time. It's Victorian novel. And also I have two e-books, and then those are all the books that are on the back burner. First book is Night Bed by Garrett Robinson. So Garrett Robinson is, I'm not sure what he is, but he is a social media something, and he decided like there isn't much diversity in fantasy, so and there aren't a lot of LGBTQ people in fantasy, a lot of disabled people, mostly male protagonists. So he like, okay, I want to change that. It's an open world, so other writers can also contribute, and he wants to give. He wants as much own voices as possible. It's the first book in a series. It has at least 2 running series. I got this one for free. The other ebook I'm currently reading is James Potter and the Hall of Elder Crossing by G. Norman Lippert. It's not a fan fiction, as the writer is a published author. The site that you can download the books at, it's for free. Because J.K. Rowling has made a deal that you can write books that are set in the world, but you can say that it's written by her. It must be appropriate for children, and the third one, you can make money off of it. So that's why professional authors can write books. Those are all the books on the back burner. Now it's Anke's turn to talk about her back burn.
Yeah, I didn't brought the back burns with me from my home, so that's why go see some pictures. The first one is Silver Scars by Posey Roberts, and it's about 2 men. One of them got disfigured during an accident, and because of that he closed himself off of relationships, and the other one is one of the few who can connect with him, and it's about their relationship and how they're growing closer to each other. The other one is Timekeeper by Tara Sim. This one has interesting premises, actually, because every town has their own clock, and the clock is responsible for the flow of time. So when a clock gets stuck, or when a clock is broken, it needs to be fixed, because when a clock stops, time stops in that city. So yeah, that's a really interesting concept, actually. And the main character is one of the people who are responsible for the upkeep of the tower, for the clock towers. And during his maintenance of one of the clock towers, he meets a guy, and yeah, and it's about the friendship between between the two, and yeah, he discovers something about the other guy he met, and yeah, it was a really interesting concept. So I started reading it, but then I got held up because of life, and now I'm not reading it at the moment, but I'm going to finish it because, like I said, it is really interesting. The other one is First Light, read from Linda Nagata. It was a gift from my sister because she knows I like stories about a common soldier in sci-fi settings and fantasy settings. And First Light is about a company of soldiers who have weapons that enhance their abilities, and yeah, it's about their struggles during the fights they need to fight, and yeah, I liked it, but yeah, it's really interesting. The other one is The Dark Forest by Liu Xingyin. It's a Chinese writer. The Dark Forest is the second novel of a series, Remembrance of Earth. I really liked the first one.
Three Body Problem?
Yeah, the Three Brother
I
Problem.
hate the series.
My sister hated it, so that's one of the books we're going to discuss because I really liked it. So that's
Our first topic.
our first topic of our differences. So yeah, I started the second book. The other one is The Maid and the Queen, The Secret History of Joan of Arc by Nancy Goldstone. Just like Bolton, Joan of Arc is one of my favorite figures. I really love her. And actually she's one of the few historical figures. There are lots of sources that are written down during the time she lived in. So that's really great for historians because there's lots of sources to choose from. And of course there's the legend of the farmer girl who wanted to defend her country against the English, and she came in contact with an angel, angel Gabriel, and she said you have to. God says you have to defend your country against the English, and you have to go to the king to ask for an army. And yeah, this book is non-fiction, and it is really about the things that was going on behind her, the people who helped her, and the influential people who helped her, and what the real reason was why she wanted to fight in the French army, because we know that she was a pretty great strategist, and she knew a lot about cannons. So that's why by inspiring the soldiers of the French soldiers, she was able to lift their spirits and make some difference in the fight against the English. So yeah, that's what the book is about, and we'll see how it's going to end. But yeah, it's fascinating.
So that's it for this video. Let us know which books you finished this week and what books you're currently reading. Leave a comment, give a thumbs up, subscribe if you like us. This is us signing out. Bye.
Bye.